In this video, we're reviewing One Piece manga chapter 984, so there will be spoilers. Please be sure to read the current chapter first if you don't like spoilers. Okay, you've read it already? Great, let's go! First off, I didn't realize that we had a chapter for this week, and I got a bit spoiled by my friends who were poking a bit of fun. And after making quick threats about ending our friendship, I finally read the chapter for myself, and I would have to say, a lot of the major parts I expected these to happen. But anyway, we start off the chapter seeing that both Page 1 and Ulti are getting back up. And really, this is one of the things that I was expecting to happen because of how durable Page 1 looked back when he fought Raid Suit Sanji. Ancient Zoan types get their physical attributes boosted, so both Page 1 and Ulti's durability doesn't surprise me. Since both of them are back up, I feel very excited because we may end up seeing Ulti versus Sulong Carrot after all. And speaking of Ulti, there she goes again with her weird behavior. Page 1 and her really have a love-hate relationship, and it's entertaining to say the least. I just love Ulti's character, and with all the quirks that Ulti has, it seems that she's a really good fit for the Straw Hat crew if you ask me. Though I don't think it will happen, but I would love that if it did. But moving forward, we see her talking smack about Yamato, trying to roll with the grown-ups because Yamato was using Thunder Bagua. I didn't know that this was translated as a trigram, and I had to look up what it meant. And really I am fascinated about how well thought out this move was, as well as Ulti's play on words. It was kind of fun. I feel like it's lost its meaning with the translation, but you could really appreciate the great writing that Oda had put into this. And it's also interesting that Ulti knows that this is Kaido's move. It's probable that she fought with Kaido, and she knows the force of this move firsthand. And because of that, she was able to compare it with Yamato's Thunder Bagua. We all saw that this move knocked Luffy out for a good while, but Ulti was up and about pretty quickly. So maybe it's the difference in strength of Kaido and Yamato, or maybe it's because of the help of the ancient Zoan Devil Fruit. We even saw one of the father thinking how crazy tough ancient Zoans are. Then they receive a report that Luffy and Yamato stopped moving, and we find them fighting each other because Luffy was in a hurry and was telling Yamato that he doesn't want to randomly go with a stranger. And while I was reading this, I felt like this was foreshadowed from Luffy's realization that Ulti was strong and he was facing a Yonko's crew. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that Luffy was going to mature from this arc, and I'm actually surprised that this is happening this early. I also think that it's actually good for Yamato having to fight with Luffy in front of Kaido's crew, because this could help her avoid any suspicions about betrayal. Anyway, we learned that Yamato was actually friends with Ace way back, and fighting Luffy reminded Yamato of Ace. We know that Ace actually visited Wano before and was good friends with Tama, so I'm really expecting a backstory about Yamato in the coming chapters. But while fighting, they managed to escape all the eyes that were there and were able to go to a safe place so they can talk. Because Yamato didn't want to talk to Luffy in such an open space where all of Kaido's crew could hear them. Not to mention, they had to have noticed that Page 1 and Ulti were chasing after them. We got back to Orochi's announcement, and it's quite funny that no one in Kaido's crew believes him. We also see Jinbei and Robin already mixed in with the crowd, and I was confused for a moment there because I thought that Robin was Gotti from Beji's crew. And if it wasn't for Robin's plot, I wouldn't have recognized her so quickly. I don't know how I feel about Robin acting like a villain and talking in a weird way. It's new, and I feel it's bad acting for her with all of her, lines in such a short dialogue. I think it's going to be suspicious. Who talks like that anyway? But Jinbei really looks funny and awkward. He doesn't look like a fishman in that panel. I feel like he's more of an ogre, really. It might just be me, but I feel like it's really weird that no one recognized Jinbei. And both of them were able to sneak in easily. If Robin was able to sneak in, that would have been expected. She's great at covert or stealthy operations and eluded the government for a good 2 decades before CP9 even got to her. But Jinbei? Really? A big blue whale shark that had 80% of his skin showing? Plus that big old sun tattoo on his chest? Really? No one recognizes him? I mean, yes, Orochi's crew might not know of Jinbei because he's an outsider and Wano is a closed off country. But Kaido's crew? Really? Yeah, a lot of people in Kaido's crew were drinking, but still, Jinbei was previously a Shichibukai and a former Big Mom Pirates crew member. That's not small news. But anyway, both Robin and Jinbei were somewhere in the crowd and were both ready to take action. Jinbei's leadership and calm collected attitude really complements Robin, in my opinion. We now know that the samurai are in the crowd, and I was actually expecting the execution to take some time so that the samurai could all get into position. But starting last chapter, the pace just took a big leap, and I hope that Oda isn't too hasty with the story, even though he already mentioned that he'd like to end the story around 2024. But going back, Jinbei and Robin are just waiting for the samurai to make moves so that they could act in the middle of the chaos, which really shows Jinbei's maturity and experience. We then find out that Lost Group has managed to get to the back of Onigashima and had warped in with lost powers. They also met with Marco's group, but Marco wanted to do some recon because of the shadows that he saw in the area. We officially see Izo, and he praises Kiku's growth. It was a very emotional moment for Kiku, reuniting with her brother Izo. I'm really curious now, because the silhouette we saw back in Marco's ship had a different way of wearing lipstick than what we are seeing on Izo. So it really makes me wonder who we saw back at the ship. Also, we finally see Kaido gather all the All-Stars and he intends to make the announcement along with Momo's execution. I think it's a really good thing that Jinbei and Robin were waiting for a good time to take action and they weren't caught up in the mess without Luffy and Zoro or the Scabbards to back them up. That will be a very tough position to be in. And we now see Luffy and Yamato talking. Yamato formally introduces herself to Luffy, and this was the biggest surprise we got. Yamato was actually a woman. Even though she first introduced herself as the son of Kaido, she proceeds to tell Luffy that she was inspired by Oden, and this confirms all of my theories about Yamato, except for the part that she's female. I never saw that one coming, and these are really the types of twists that make me love One Piece so much. She also doesn't know that the Scabbards are alive and are in Wano right now, so obviously it wasn't written on the logbook she found, and that she really wasn't in on the loop of reports from both Orochi and probably Kaido, which could be explained by her rebellious nature. I love the fact that she tells Luffy that she wants him to fight with her, and not the other way around. She has character, really, and it seems that she's quite a fighter because she was able to gauge just how strong Luffy was and that Luffy wasn't even fighting seriously. It's also very admirable that she was able to handle Luffy's third gear, so obviously she's pretty strong herself. And we end the chapter with Yamato telling Luffy that he reminds her of Ace, as well as telling us, the audience, that there's no chapter next week. So I'm really starting to hate Yamato. I mean, every time the chapter ends with her face on the last panel, we always see that breaks come along with it. My brain is starting to make associations that when I see her face, there's going to be a break. But anyway, this ends today's video. Overall, the chapter was a fine one. I'm bummed out because of the break. Plus, there wasn't too much action in this chapter. But I really feel like the pace has sped up really fast, and we're near the start of the clash. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like and comment down below who you think the silhouette was in Marco's ship. And subscribe to the channel so that the channel could grow. Hit the notifications button as well, because on the next video, we'll be pushing back the possible matchups for the Scabbards, and instead, we're going to make predictions for chapter 985 onwards. And it's going to be fun. So, don't miss it. Stay safe. Peace!